understand that if you called it meatpacking, it was because there were still tons of warehouses. And it was interesting because a neighborhood that was really quiet at midnight, at 1, at 2 in the morning, would pick up at 3 and 4 and 5 as people came to work and as these places opened for business at 5 in the morning. Again, this was on the fringes. This is things we would see coming and going, or coming out of a party very late. You'd see the remnants of it as you'd get up in the morning, as it would, you'd still see the people that were still up from the night before. The places and the people, there were dozens of transvestite prostitutes by this time. This was a thing in the meatpacking district. As this late night area became, as there were a few restaurants and a couple of clubs and haunts. I don't know exactly what year it started, but in 1987, when I moved into the neighborhood, it reached all the way to 8th Avenue, probably. So you can imagine what we would consider the meatpacking district, from 8th Avenue to the river, from 14th Street maybe to Christopher Street. Developed into a neighborhood of late night haunts, streetwalkers, nightclub, nightlife people, after hours spots, spots, illegal clubs, late night food, and just the big change is people out on the street at all hours.
Sugar Factory actually opened in 2013 on Gansevoort, which is right around the corner. Our nightlife is pretty well known, especially like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday over the weekend. It gets really busy, and you see tons of people out all hours overnight. Sometimes when we close the restaurant, like at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you definitely see there's a lot of happening going on still.
In the 70s and 80s, there was a S&M club here called the Nine Shaft.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. That's crazy.
You burned me one time, but now my fire's twice as bright. I learned that one time to take it all in stride.
A New York City detective in search of a killer is about to disappear into the night, an odyssey to the edge of city life.
There's just stuff going down. I don't think I can deal with it.
Cruising.
None of these high-end, none of these boutique, stores, none of them. And I mean, this is really like the last phase. Though we take it for granted because it's been many years now. There's so many stores, but that was really the last thing to come in. That was not there in the 80s or even in the 90s. Now we're talking about late night. We're talking about nightlife and places that were for the people that were gravitating to the area. Underground, after hours clubs, bars, as we mentioned, where the rules weren't so strict. You saw what was going on around you was this blossoming, lesbian and gay community and nightlife and association. Florence, from it opened, they had a reputation not only for being kind of a cool scene where cool people went, but the food was actually really good. That's what drew a lot of people to the neighborhood. It wasn't just the cool factor, it was the fact that the food was really good. Maybe I was naive at the time, but I thought that the food was pretty good, that they had these options at 3 and 4 in the morning. Whereas before that, the only thing that was open was the Waverly Diner on 6th Avenue and Waverly Place. That was late night food before that. That's all we had. When that was the only place open, sometimes you'd have to wait an hour for a table at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Bagatelle is on the corner of Little West 12. It's a restaurant, but it turns into a club. Like they are infamous for their brunches. Saturday and Sunday they have brunch, which it gets a little crazy. The servers come out and dance. They have like costumes. They sparklers when you order champagne, and so it's pretty fun.
I guess tell us anything.
Sure. Well, the building was constructed in 1849, and it was a fort. The name Gansevoort corresponds to the street. We're on Gansevoort Street. It's a Dutch name. In the late 60s, 70s, 80s, mostly it was the home of Nelson Sullivan, who is a video artist, and he recorded a lot of nightlife and gay culture between West Village and the piers. NYU currently holds his archive, and just about every square inch of this building, they say, is recorded in his files and his artwork. And he was friends with Andy Warhol, with RuPaul, with just all kinds of wonderful and interesting people. For a period of time, there were artists who had studios in this building. Right before this building was converted into a gallery and project space about 2 years ago, it was a restaurant called 5-9. It's landmarked, so we can't really do a lot of renovating, but you'll see that we've put in these temporary walls. You'll see that some of the walls, like this wall and that wall, they're not actually part of the structure.
I see.
Yeah, they've just been basically put on the ground here.
Dolly Buck, Mud Masher, Foam Roller, Good Light, Creeper, Pivot Rounder.
So, section 2 about Ricky's time as a teenager within the Meatpacking district and surrounding areas. So, take it away.
This is our first introduction to the High Line. The High Line actually ran through their building, though at this time the High Line was completely abandoned and was really only known to us because of our graffiti writing friends. The High Line was known as a place to get up. So it was a famous place for graffiti writers to go and tag and to do pieces, because there was very little interference, and because just for status, this is where a lot of other graffiti writers would go. I knew the two places that were easy to get on the High Line if you wanted to go and catch tags with your friends. Though I wasn't a graffiti writer, I might have been, if anything, labeled a part-time lookout. You know, I didn't have any. I had tons of friends that I would hang out with and went on enough adventures with, but you know, my name's not written on a wall anywhere famous. But I knew you could easily get onto the High Line from Westbeth. And the other place where people typically would always go was, there was a parking lot right next to the Roxy, which was a very famous nightclub for many years. The Roxy was directly underneath the High Line, or say adjacent to it, I believe 18th Street. And you could also look up the Roxy. It was a famous club for a really long time. I figure that probably the majority of my graffiti writer friends probably spent their time on the High Line somewhere between those few blocks, between Westbeth and the Roxy. That was kind of our area. Did I ever go up there? The one time I decided I'm going up with them, 2 or 3 people had climbed up, and I was actually climbing the fence to go up, and someone said, there's cops up here, and one guy came down, and the other guy had to run because he was afraid to get caught climbing. And I remember, I don't know why we ran, because we were down in the parking lot. I think sometimes someone would say run and everybody run, but even though we weren't, I remember like being on the fence and saying cops, and we all took off. So we've gone from now, the village now has gone west, and now it's coming uptown, right? Now the same draw, the art, the trendy, the branding, the cool, is now going to go to Hudson Yards, because they're already looking at this like this is an extension of the High Line. And what does that mean? The people that are getting, it's the next stop. You get on at 14th Street, you get on at 17th or 20th or 20th. Now you're up to 30th Street. Now it's going up through the 30s, and the buildings are magnificent, and they're built around and next to and to mirror with this in mind. So, in my opinion, I think when Chelsea Market opened was really like a food court to serve all the surrounding, this industry that was coming in the neighborhood, because the neighborhood hadn't really caught up yet the way that it's now kind of following suit, because you saw the ripple. Like, the neighborhood was doing well, all these businesses came in, big buildings, they're taking over the real estate, like Major League, what is Major League Baseball setting up shop in Chelsea because there was a warehouse available or something, right? So now people need to eat. So then the stores and businesses and people in the neighborhood go, wait a minute, look what they're doing there. So they started opening up other places, but it all kind of happened at the same time. I think that first it was the locals coming to Chelsea Market, and we loved it.